Assalamu alaikum.
Okay.
I'd like to welcome you to Mr. Quick's online video lesson.
We found something everybody likes. Hey, Will. Hey. Okay. Well, you can please some of the people some of the time. You can please most of the people most of the time. But you ain't gonna never be able to please all the people all the time. And that's just a fact of life, unfortunately. Well, okay. Well, let's move on. Let's get busy here. We're talking about a celebration of grandfathers, and everyone, you know, has stories to tell about their grandfathers and all of that type of stuff. Well, without wasting a whole lot of time, you know the deal. You know the questions you got to get through. Yes? Yes. So let's start. This the fun stuff. Okay. Okay. Who is the author? I'm going to call on you. You don't have to raise your hand because Mr. Omar is going to answer that. Who's the author? Yes. You can look in your notes. This is not like a verbal quiz type thing. I told you to take notes as you read. Feel free to use those notes to maximize your question, answer, participation, so forth and so on. Okay, yes. Yes. I'll need some information about him. Information. We do have some information about him. Yes. Volunteers. I would take a volunteer. Anything. Anything about him. Anything. Yes. That's enough. Yes. Yeah. All right. And we can move on. That's all I needed. Not rocket science. I need some background information about the selection. Now, wait a minute. Remember yesterday we said this is not information that's in the selection, but information surrounding the selection and all that. And I told you exactly where you can find that information. Answer this question. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Anyone else? Yes.
Okay, there's that grandfather there's that way his grandfather.
Uh-huh.
Can you talk three important stuff?
Okay, hold, stop right there. Let me say, okay, Miss R. Okay, hold, I know where you're going with that. Hold on. Now remember, when I said background information, this is information that's not in the selection. You remember that? Yes. Say, speak up. Okay, all right. Where did you get that information at? Yes, build the background. Yes. It's near what? This whole, the Mexican mountains, the Tall River. This is the area in which, the setting takes place. Yes. Is this like a famous place or a well-known place or something like that? Yes, it's a well-known, famous place in Mexico. That's what I mean by background information. Anything that will help us to understand the selection. So, in other words, this is not in Chicago. Right? So that information helps us know. We're not talking about somewhere in Chicago, some big city. Not talking about Los Angeles. He's not like a Crip and his grandfather was like, Okay, so now we have an idea. Okay, that's what I'm looking for. So we'll just move on and, all right. Well, what's the focus? What's the focus? I want to call on someone. The focus. Yes, ma'am. What's the focus? Hold tight. What's the focus? Respect. Okay. Anyone else? Wait. I want to call him. What's the focus, Manny? Tone. Wait. Tone. You say tone. The focus is tone, right? Yes. Focus is tone. All right. Okay. Yeah, boy. What is tone? If we don't have that, and we don't know that, we need to get that. Yes, because that is tone. Tone is the writer's attitude towards his or her subject. When people speak, yes, definitely when they speak, their tone of voice gives added meaning to what they say. Yes. Like your mother. Did you clean your room up? Did you clean your room? I mean, you know her seriousness based on her tone. Writers use written language in the same way. In the same way. You use it every day. Every day. Actually, what you do every day is even more than what authors do. Because how you use it is crucial to the other person understanding your tone. Someone tell me what I'm talking about. You write it every day. Yes.
The tone, the voice means something.
No. What I'm asking is that you individually do something every day that involves using language to show another person your tone.
You said the voice.
No, in writing. Oh, that'd be cool, when you want to fight with somebody, and you show them the ego. No. Actually, no, but really, we kind of do that. We do that in what I'm talking about. We do it every day. We're chatting. Yeah, chatting. Because, you put little apostrophes and smileys. I mean, you let the person know your tone by your use of the language or characters. And this is what an author does. Author does. Readers can identify the tone of a story by paying attention to details, dialogue, description, and by monitoring their responses to these elements. Yes. So as you read, or as you read this selection, you were hopefully able to tell the author's tone when talking about the subject. And the subject was, what was the subject, Miss Snow? What was the subject? Grandfather. Yes, that was the subject. Yes. Okay. Moving right along. Now for the big deal. How does the focus relate to the selection? That's the big question. So we know what tone is, right? Raise your hand if you don't know what tone is. You don't know what tone is. Yes? Okay. Excellent. Well, let's see here. All right. Let's take a reading of this and see if we can't discover the tone here on the subject. And what's the subject? What's the subject? His grandfather? Not his grandmother? He didn't talk about his grandmother? Only his grandfather? He didn't have a grandmother? No, he has one. He just didn't talk about it. Okay. All right, no problem. Here we go. God give you a good day, grandfather. This is how I was taught as a child to greet my grandfather, or any grown person. It was a greeting of respect, cultural value to be passed on from generation to generation. Thus, respect for the old ones. The old people, I remember from my childhood, were strong in their beliefs. And as we lived daily with them, we learned a wise path of life to follow. They had something important to share with the young, and when they spoke, the young listened. These old abuelos, okay, my Spanish is not that good, okay, and abuelitas, okay, had worked the earth all their lives, and so they knew the value of nurturing. They knew the sensitivity of the earth. They knew the rhymes and the cycles of time, from the preparation of the earth in the spring to the digging of the sequoias. What's that? What was that? And see, yes. It said it right there. Can somebody tell me? Nobody can tell me. Gotta take notes. Gotta take notes. Especially when they have a little, see, little 2, that means the second definition. It's like a footnote. Okay. That brought the water to the dance of harvest in the fall. They shared good times and hard times. They helped each other through the epidemics and personal tragedies, and they shared what little they had when the hot winds burned the land and no rain came. They learned that to survive, one had to share in the process of life. Yes. Question. You don't have to volunteer because I'm going to call on you. Could someone please give me an example of how the author uses tone here? How does the author use tone in this passage here? Yes. Respect to the OP. Tell me exactly where you picked up that he was using tone to get his message across. Yes. Okay. All right. Yes. Okay. All right. And that is a tone of respect. Yes. Yes. So he had very, very respectful things to say about not only his grandfather, but old people, grown people. Yeah, grown folks. Grown folks. Yeah, we don't want to say old people. Okay. Grown folks. Yes. One day you'll be grown folks. Yes. Okay, many days from now. Okay, but this is the tone. The tone is respect. And, I mean, do you sense any disrespect here when he's mentioning, grown folks? You sure? Ain't nothing? So the whole tone of this passage is about respect and right, how they were, why they were respected, so forth and so on. Let us take a moment, look back through the passage. Let's make sure that we see that. I want you to make sure that you see how the language he uses here lets us know his tone and how he feels about the subject. Very respectful words. Yes. Usually when you respect someone, you give them you compliment them and these different things. And when you don't respect someone, you don't use nice. You wouldn't say if he was talking about old people, and some people think old people are stupid. He wouldn't use wise. What would he use? Some word like stupid. Huh? No, another word? Never mind. You can tell me. Very interesting. Yes. Do we respect grown folks? Okay, well, not everybody's for sure. We respect grown folks. We don't respect some grown folks, right? Some of them. Oh. Huh? Not all of them. Some grown folks you don't respect, right? No, I'm just asking. I'm just asking. Okay. Bad people? Mean they look bad or they sound bad? Huh? Oh, okay. All right. Because I think that's the tone here. His tone is respecting all grown folks, right? Yes? Mothers, fathers, teachers, and, other grown folks. Okay. All right. I just want to make sure. All right. Well. Okay. Okay. You don't want? Okay. You don't want to write it down? You don't write it down? You don't write it down? You don't want to write it down? You want to write it down? Oh, okay. All right. Yes. Yes. I added something. I added admiration because I think he really admires his grandfather in addition to respect. And sometimes admiration comes from respect. Not all the time, but sometimes, especially if the person is close to you. So I think that passage, the language of that passage, the tone of that was one of respect and admiration. It's my own assessment. You don't have to agree with that. You know, as we discuss these selections, you don't necessarily have to agree with my analysis. Actually, I'm not looking for everyone to agree with my analysis. Because if I start feeling that everybody is agreeing with my analysis, then I'm going to start wondering, everybody read. You see? So I want some type of dialogue. You know what dialogue is? You have monologue with, yes, in most cases. Monologue. They talk, you listen. Okay? I want dialogue in here. I read it, everybody else read it. So you have, how many brains we got in here? Okay, there's 20 brains. With brains that, you know, all see things the same way, especially when we're reading something. Yes? I'm not the author. If I was the author, I mean, it probably would be a monologue. Right? Because you couldn't tell me what I meant when I wrote it. Right? So, that's why I want dialogue. Okay? We got a different, you know, difference between dialogue and monologue. Because some of your parents want you to talk more in class. That's a request. Because we don't teach talking. Yes? Now, I have some ingenious ways to get you to talk more. Like, for instance, I used to, sometimes I wonder why I stop things. I used to have students to come up and tell us about the selection. To encourage them to talk. That's a good idea, right? Oh, okay. Now, I used to do that. Actually, I used to sit, and the student would come up, and I ask the student questions. You don't like that idea? Well, see, you know, okay, now. Then we can agree that we're going to all read the selection so that we can have a dialogue, right? Because I don't want to put you in a situation where you got to talk, you know? You stand up like this. I don't want to do that. That's not what I want to do. But some of your parents want you to talk. So, you know, I don't want to have to do that. Okay, here we go. Let's read some more from this selection here. Okay. We'll start here. I drove by my grandfather's home, my uncle's ranches, the neglected abode, Adobe. Adobe, that's actually where the word comes from. Adobe, you know Adobe, the Photoshop. Adobe. Does anyone know what it means? Who? Raise your hand. What does Adobe mean? Mm-hmm. Oh, I get what you're saying. Does anyone know what the original word means? I would have gave somebody bonus. Yep. Okay, no, let's move on. Okay, let's move on. The neglected adobe washing down into the earth from whence it came. And I wondered, how might the values of my grandfather's generation live in our own? I'm gonna stop there. Because I think just in this sentence here, in these two sentences here, we get a feeling for now a different tone. Maybe of something else. About something else. Take your time. Read those two sentences over again. See what the author's talking about. I mean, you have in your mind the whole story, but read those two sentences. Actually, he's doing more than wondering if, because I'm going to give you a hint. From what he just wrote here, something has already happened. No, not something with him. But something has already happened. Something has already... Oh! Sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Something has already happened. Let's read the sentences again, shall we? Okay. And of course, as we read, you know, the analyzing literature is more about what's in between each line than what is in each line. And I know you ask, that's a very strange concept, because what's in between each line apparently is nothing, right? Right? But actually there is something in between the lines. Something that the author is trying to convey to us that he didn't just write out. That's what you call what's in between the lines. So, okay, let's read it again. I drove by my grandfather's home, my uncle's ranches, the neglected adobe washing down into the earth from whence it came, and I wondered, how might the values of my grandfather's generation live in our own? Think about the question. But I think we have a new tone here. A new tone about something else. Okay. Has anything changed? Because the first passage was talking about, back in the day when he remembered. Has things changed? Yes.
He's wondering about the changes between the life, the old grandfather's time, and our generation.
Right. Does he tell us anything about how things have changed?
They see us, what we are doing now.
Would they be happy about it?
Yes.
Okay. Does he tell us or give us any indication that maybe things have changed? Okay. Actually, there's one word that really sets the tone for these two sentences. Say it. Oh! You just got a 50-point bonus. Neglected. That word sets the whole tone. How? Somebody tell me how. How does that one word set the whole tone? We started out talking about respect for the grandfather's generation and how they, taught the young people and how they really cared for their surroundings. Now we're talking about the new generation. How does this one word change the whole tone? Okay. Yeah, no, that's the word, but I want to know how that word changes the tone. The tone was respect and admiration for the grandfather's generation. Now, yes. Yes, because whereas in the old generation would not have neglected the surroundings, the things, they cared about everything. They took a certain amount of pride in whether it was fancy or not. This is what they taught. But the new generation, they don't really care about these things now. Yes. That's why what happens is more every year, every generation that passes, people own less and less land. Because the new generation be like, what we need all this farmland for? Man, let's sell this and go buy one of them flats overlooking the Nile, That's what they do. So each generation, they own less and less land because they don't have that respect that the older generations have. And, keeping with the same point, this is what the tone he's trying to set here, that there has been a change. That's why the name of the selection is a celebration of grandfathers. Because really, now, in his time, there's not much to celebrate. Maybe we should write that. How the tone at the beginning was, of course, respect. Talking about how the older people take care of everything. And now things are a little bit different. Sorry about that. And now the tone is one of, I don't know. Is it respect or disrespect? The tone now. Is it respect or disrespect? It's both? It's not. You're right. Actually, you're right. It's not. It's not disrespect, but it's not respect. Actually, I think he's trying to decide. What you think? And I wondered, how might the values of my grandfather's generation live in our own? And actually, he's asking you that question. I think may have, not let it things, neglected property and things like that. Yes? Yes. Okay, very interesting. Okay. All right. All right. The word that you were looking for when you were talking to me and Miss Aya is reminiscing. Reminiscing. He's reminiscing. He's thinking about today, and he's reminiscing on man. I wonder how if what was applied my grandfather's generation, how things would be different today. It's reminiscing, thinking about back in the good old days. That's what they call them, the good old days. Back in the day, good old days. Okay, all right. Yes, that is the tone in this passage. So we have a few tones here: respect, admiration, reminiscing. That's it. Any questions about that? Okay, so we can move on. So I can ask you some more questions. Whoa, what's this? Something new. Something new. Yes. Yes. New, but an old concept, and that is I'm going to pull some vocabulary from our selections that I think that you should be familiar with. Some of the vocabulary words will be ones that are underlined and have little footnotes beside. Some of the vocabulary will be just words I think was probably, and I'm guessing, probably a word that you struggled with. But of course, I know when you read our selections, you have your dictionary beside you, and you look up words as words that you come across, right? Of course. So, not a big deal. These are the words for this selection. Important vocabulary words for this selection. Reminiscing. Yeah. Aroma, trickle, impulse, participant, transformation, descendant, epidemic. There you go. Yes. Any of these words you don't know? These selections are taken from the 10th grade language of literature book, 10th grade level. So all the words contained there, 10th graders should know. So you should know these words. These are words you should know. These are words as a 10th grader you should know. Yes. Okay, build. You got those? Yes? All right, now I'm not asking you to do anything with them because you're responsible young adults. So you're going to get the definitions for them, and I don't have to, run up behind you and chase you to find out if you did it, right? Right? We don't have to do anything special with those words, right? We don't have to do that. Oh, you want to do that? So we have to do sentences or make a paragraph, nothing like that. Okay. So you're going to look up the definitions. Okay. All right. The day I find out you're not doing that, well, then we have to go do it the hard way. So we don't want to do that. Here we go. Yes. Why was this short story written? Okay. Well, to help people remember the respect that young people had of older people. Well, I did the hard one for you. I guess the rest don't easy. There you go. Yes, Miss Medium. Oh, sorry. Let me do that. Okay, yes, Miss Medium. Give me some more. Another reason. And remember, now I told you there's no right or wrong answer here. There's a really good one and a, kind of good one. But give me something. Yes. Okay. To learn from old folks. Grown folks. Yes. Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Yes.
It shows
Okay, to show what he learned from his grandfather. Okay, yeah, that's a good one. That's a good one. Yes. Mhm. 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 Yes, I like that one. Wait. He had something to say. Yeah. Yes, to compare the old days to the good old days. Oh no, to compare the old days to the good new days. The new days. Okay, all right. Now that's enough. Now we want to go over here. Where we have to use our brains like heavily. I didn't say you had to do it as an assignment, but I did say you had to familiarize yourself with it. Okay. Now we can do it the easy way. Discuss it. Or we can do it the hard way. And you have to answer them in discussion form and turn them into bin. I'm all about choice. Which one you want to do? Oh, discuss it. Okay, well, let's talk about it. Let's skip down here to think critically. What do you think Anaya means when he says that his grandfather was a participant with the forces that killed our world rather than a bystander? What do you think he meant by that? Do we remember that part in the story? We don't remember that? We can come back to that? Want to come back to that one? Yes. That's okay. Tell me what you think. Tell me what you think.
There's no water for plants.
Mm-hmm.
No rain.
Mm-hmm.
Ananias, when he was young, he started to pray.
Mm-hmm.
He wants water with the land. His grandfather told him.
Mm-hmm.
He felt that his grandfather's.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay, I like that. I like the answer. Yes.
His grandfather did not listen to my logic.
Okay. Okay. All right. Yes and yes. That's all I want. Let's look at the next one. What are the most important lessons you think the author has learned from his grandfather? Now, the most important. Okay. Yes. To be patient. Okay. Okay.
Life and death.
Oh.
And say that God might give you a good day.
Okay. Okay. Okay, I'll tell you what. Go ahead. Mm-hmm. The older. Mm-hmm. A lot. Yeah. Okay. Can we agree on the most important thing? The most important lesson you think that he learned from his grandfather? Can we? Go ahead. Okay. Respecting older generations and appreciating what you have. Yes.
The most important is to listen to the old people, the grandparents,
Mm-hmm.
to know what they do.
Okay. Anyone else? Can we agree to that? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So we can agree that the lesson here is respecting older generations and how they appreciated what they had. Okay. All right. Let's look at number 4. How do you think Anaya felt about his grandfather's final transformation? And before we can answer that, I want to ask you, what was his grandfather's final transformation? Mm-hmm. 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 Okay. All right. Okay. Then, what do you think? How do you think he felt about it? Grief.
Wanted to grow up like him.
Mm-hmm.
Didn't be able to write it.
Oh, okay. All right. He wanted to be a farmer. He had that much respect and admiration for it. He wanted to be like it. Yes. Okay, all right. Let's go back up here, because we want to connect to what we have read. What do you think? What is your impression of the author's grandfather? This is purely your own, thoughts here. Let me ask someone in the back, way back in the back of the room. Hassan Magdi, right? Yes. Tell us, what is your impression of the author's grandfather? Shh. You gotta tell me something. I say that again. Now, let me ask you a question. All right. Now, at the end, when his grandfather took, his dog and shot him in the head, how do you think he felt about that? Wait a minute. Go ahead. Excuse me. You think you're sad about it? Because he loved the dog, right? He talks about that in the whole story, right? Right? Whose dog was it? Was it his friend's dog or his grandfather's dog? His grandfather's dog. Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. Well, is there anyone else that can help us to answer this question? What is your impression about the author's grandfather? Raise your hand. Let me take a volunteer. Okay. He was wise. Okay. All right. Anything else? Question. I just had another question when I had. Okay. All right. Now, when he saw his grandmother and his grandfather fight, you remember the first time? How did he feel about that? Did he lose respect for his grandmother? What do you mean? It was right there. Go ahead. Did he lose respect for his grandmother? Okay, thank you. See that? Okay, all right, no problem. Yes, Ms. R. Give me your impressions about his grandfather, the author's grandfather. He did what? Oh, he learned a lot of stuff from him. Okay, so your impression of his grandfather would be that his grandfather is a teacher, he teaches things. Okay, I got you. Okay, all right. Well, okay, I'm relatively, satisfied with our analysis of this particular selection. However, I will become a little more insistent with some people, and maybe in the future we can have even more laughs. And maybe I will institute some things that I used to do back in the day, as far as, trying to get you to, talk a little bit. Yes, because we have to discuss this. This is called literary analysis. And the only way we can analyze is we have to talk. So if I didn't call on you today, probably you will be who I will call on tomorrow. Yes. Usually, I tell you this is what I do. In my mind, I usually remember those who were silent, and I forget those who talked. So the next day, in my mind, I'm trying to get those who were silent to talk. You get the point I'm trying to make? If you want me to remember you, then, don't say anything. Yes. Okay, here we go. Well, that does it for us for this particular selection. We do have we do have a selection tonight, right? Yes? Yes? Okay, we got a selection tonight.
Tell you what, the person who believes that this wasn't set up by our own government is an idiot.
So far, it's the best night ever.